For our project, we did a lab on muscle fatigue.
One important thing that we learned is that there is a difference between fatigue and weakness. Fatigue is a feeling of tiredness or exhaustion or a need to rest because of lack of energy or strength. It may result from overwork, poor sleep, worry, boredom, or lack of exercise. Weakness is a lack of physical or muscle strength. It's the feeling that extra effort is required to move a muscle.
In our lab, we had our 17 subjects complete a series of exercises, including arm lifts, calf raises, and grip strength. For the arm lifts, our subjects had to complete 8 one-minute intervals to see how many arm lifts they could do in each interval, with their arm fully extended, palm up.
For the calf lifts, there were 10 10-second intervals where the subjects had to complete as many calf raises as possible.
For grip strength, subjects had to squeeze a tennis ball as hard as they could for 10 seconds in 10-second intervals. We tested multiple age groups, including under 10, 10 to 14-year-olds, 15 to 18-year-olds, adults, and over 50-year-olds.
We took the averages for each of our age groups and plotted it. For the calf raises, we noticed that the age groups were surprisingly similar in their results. It seemed that most people's muscles began fatiguing in the middle, but most had a burst of energy at the end. This exercise worked the gastrocnemius.
For the tennis ball squeeze, we noticed that subjects usually held around the same amount of repetitions per interval. This exercise worked the extensor digitorum superficialis and the flexor digitorum superficialis.
The arm lifts was definitely a hated exercise by many. Most subjects had a decline in the middle, but had a surge of energy near the end of the 8 minutes.
If you do an arm lift like we have shown, and put your hand on your bicep, you can feel your biceps and triceps working together to make this movement. This also works your anterior deltoid.
There are many causes to muscle fatigue. One is an insufficient amount of oxygen, which causes a decreased level of ATP, resulting in muscle fatigue.
Another reason that muscles would be fatigued is because of buildup of lactic acid. When oxygen is limited, the body temporarily converts pyruvate into a substance called lactate, which allows glucose to break down, and thus energy production to continue. The working muscle cells can continue this type of anaerobic energy production at high rates for 1 to 3 minutes, during which the lactate can accumulate to high levels.
A third reason for muscle fatigue involves a decrease in creatine phosphate and insufficient oxygen and glycogen levels. Carbs are stored as glycogen and then used when you exercise. The depletion of glycogen can cause fatigue.
A final way of fatigue is nervous fatigue. This happens after a period of maximum contraction, when the nerve signal reduces in frequency and the force generated by the contraction diminishes. There isn't any pain or discomfort, the muscle just stops listening and gradually ceases to move.
Rapidly fatiguing muscles are more susceptible to injury and inflammation. Some ways to prevent muscle fatigue are by eating healthy, hydrating throughout the day and during exercise, building up endurance by gradually increasing aerobic workouts with interval training, using correct form when exercising, and getting adequate rest and recovery after exercises and before the next workout session.